welcoming all our viewers to another week of International Affairs being proudly broadcasted from the SATV's Gulshan studio. And I'm, of course, your host, Shamsul Alam Pantho, leading today's discussion topics. There is much to focus on, especially after a weekend that the news will be a lot to digest for a lot of our viewers. But it is important to break down all of the important events that are happening around the world in terms of environmental disasters as well as geopolitics. Let me introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain, a senior jurist of the Supreme Court as well as a senior politician. I welcome you on to the program. Alongside, we will have Norman Floyd Barnes, our geopolitical correspondent, all the way from Washington, District of Columbia. Let's start our discussions with a recap of what we have today. We see that Moroccan authorities have foiled an immigration attempt toward a Spanish enclave, Ceuta, once again enraging immigration concerns in the European nation. As not only so, CENTCOM is stating that USS George W.H. Bush, the aircraft carrier, as well as the Abraham Lincoln, are facing many troubles, not only in the soldiers' morale, but as well as staying in the open sea for a very long mission. I want to turn to Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. Really, the condition of these sailors, the U.S. military, U.S. Navy, is a very detrimental. We hear stories and news regarding some of their mental well-being, some even wanting to jump overboard in an attempt to get a better living standard. I want to begin with this discussion while we also see that U.S. President Donald Trump claims that the Strait of Hormuz is now going to be a U.S. territory. The Iran, which blatantly said that this was a lie, stating from the U.S. president. Then that is the situation as we see it on August the 16th. I welcome you onto the program. How you see this kind of development?
Yes, look, we had been discussing that US is going to face another defeat. They were defeated in Vietnam, recently in Afghanistan, and now they are facing another defeat in Iran. Iran has claimed that no condition will work other than declaring a loss of the war by USA, that they have lost. So Iran has come to that dominant position,
right,
that they can put a condition that you admit that you have lost in the war. And regarding the condition of the soldiers, as I served in Bangladesh Army for 21 years, I know the psyche when long time the soldiers remain away from the family, not getting leave, and the condition like jungle, desert, or in the sea. In Bangladesh Army, we have less experience remaining long time in the sea. But US, it is the Navy who is the dominant force, and most of the international expedition and war they carried out through using their warships, and remaining in the ship out of the human society, out of the society, it's have huge pressure on the mental health. So that's why you see that where the war begins, there remain the psychologists.
Right.
And many of the soldiers, they become out of head, they become psychic. They jump in the ocean, they go for suicide. It happens invariably. So America, without this businessman, Trump, do not have any military training. America had 35 military presidents having military backgrounds. They understand the psyche of the troops remaining in the war field, war in the sea. This businessman, a prolific liar, a unsound mind person who actually does not understand what mental condition can be for the troops remaining long term in the war field, and especially right, in the sea-bound ships. And we have heard that the internal dispute has arisen and dozens are dead. And you say that another ship, you said they are jumping on the sea. So it will happen if the war does not end. This is on site. This is happening with the troops. On the other side, all markets has become unstable.
Of course.
The commodities, price of the commodities is on the rise. Most importantly, the fuel price is on the rise. The fuel stability, fuel energy is the lifeline of the world business, lifeline of the civilization, lifeline of any country. That has been damaged so much that the fuel market is just in a purse, in a very unstable condition. When what is going to happen? In Bangladesh, equally affected too.
Of course.
You see that the electricity has, because of the electricity, there are agitation and people are not getting electricity for 9 to 10 hours. There are load shedding. The ministers, the pseudonyms has become that Tuku means load shedding. So there was a coal power plant, one or two, one in Chittagong, Matarbari, another in Mongla Port. And what happened to the nuclear power plant? That we hear that the 1 or 2 unit will come to the production. Why this so much of load shedding? We do not understand that why it has happened. There had been a good management during Auli time. We have to admit that during the interim time. But what happened in 5 months that you cannot manage the electricity? So maybe that one of the reason is the war against Iran. Now what you have gained, USA? Nothing. But you have lost yet another war.
Right, excellent statements coming from Barrister Sarwar Hossain, really breaking down the situation that we see stemming from the Iran war as it brings on counter effects here in Bangladesh 5 months into a new government, and we are seeing some of these effects really taking a burden amongst the general public here in Bangladesh. Of course, as we wait for Norman Floyd Barnes to join, I just want to ask Barrister Sarwar Hossain regarding the US leader Donald Trump. I know that you've called him a farcical liar as well. He is. Even so, we've seen that during his aircraft swap while coming back from Turkey in the NATO summit, he had left some of his members, some of the White House staff in the Air Force One, the original plane. And because of such, even Caroline Leavitt, the media secretary, had resigned from her position. Not only so, Donald Trump had stated that the consumers to suck up and to digest the inflated prices of energy. Really, as you've mentioned, the communication between one another will be drastically affected when it comes down to energy and how it's being distributed across the world. Your comment regarding US President, time is running out for him, the midterms are just around the corner.
Yeah, he makes a lot of comics, lot of funs. He shifted from Air Force On by a food van, a
catering truck,
a food truck.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun, and he left many of his principal staffs on the other flight. And during his last election campaign, on bullet hit on his ear.
Yes,
and he said that he attempted killing effort. So many said that no, he made it. I don't know, this is very dangerous game. If he made it, then it would have been very dangerous game if the bullet shipped on his here and there. So right. A lot of news. So he made a stable situation, a very unstable, only by protecting Netanyahu, another heinous war criminal. There is not enough words to describe his crime against humanity. Right. A warrant order has been issued against him, and Mr. Trump ignoring the sentiment of the people, where 50% of the US people asking him to arrest Netanyahu. What he is not doing, he is constantly and he is protecting Mr. Trump, a war criminal, and thereby he himself has turned to be a abettor of the crime against humanity. So if America having democratic government and they practice rule of law, they picking up a head of the state from another country and protecting another war criminal against whom there is a warrant order issued by the International War Crimes Tribunal. This he has to answer, and this he is going to answer immediately in the midterm election. I think American people, those who many of them has taken to the street, they have agitated, they have gone for the movements, and 50% of the people are demanding for the arrest of Netanyahu. So he is not carrying the people's demand, people's sentiments. So I think people will reply in the midterm election.
Of course, that's very important, as we yet to see the mandate of the people in the midterm elections, just to see how people are feeling. And it's not just Donald Trump, the US president, and Benjamin Netanyahu that are very cozying up to one another. There is news that relates between Benjamin Netanyahu and the United Kingdom. in which it says that the relationship between UK and Israel are long-standing. However, right now the UK and Israel are allies, but relationships have become notably more tense since the war on Gaza, referring to UK as the Islamic Republic of Britain. So this kind of commentary, this kind of messaging is definitely seen as a hate violence or a hate speech.
Hate speech.
Just to get a comment from you, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Knesset in Israel is dissolved right now. Even they have an election in October as it stands. Just to get a comment from you regarding United Kingdom, we've seen that the movement for Palestinians, the movement for their statehoodness, all of it is being observed by common Britons as well. How do you see it?
Yeah, earlier also we have seen there was a Foreign Secretary, Robin Cook. Robin Cook once visited this Palestine and made a comment for their liberation, that it is their land, the Israelis are the occupants. It is not their land, and everybody knows it. So again, UK did not join in the war with USA first. USA invaded, and then Trump commented that you don't have to join in the war is already been won. Already. So which was a false claim. This false claim, now this already won war is coming to a defeated state. So that's why the UK government and people of UK has taken the right side of the situation. What is the right side? You cannot kill the civilian. You cannot kill the children. You cannot bomb the hospitals. So it is UK who has taken the right decision. And these war criminals has made a comment that it is the Islamic Republic of UK. It doesn't matter. He should be arrested. I think UK also should make attempt. UK should pursue Trump that please arrest Mr. Netanyahu. He should put under trial, otherwise the sense of justice, sense of law, this judiciary do not mean anything. It will not exist.
Right.
So judiciary has come, the concept of judiciary, the concept of justice has come to try, and the International War Crime Tribunal has formed to try this type of criminal. If you cannot try this type of criminal, then the world order will be disturbing itself. The world order will not remain. The world order will be destroyed, and there will be another disaster. As we said that the war is escalating in Ukraine and Russia, right, also in the Middle East. So this might be that another world war in the looming. You cannot afford that. So the behavior of UK foreign policy in regard of Gaza, in regard of the war, is absolutely perfect. Absolutely, they are with the right side of the situation, and they are serving the humanity. That's why UK has done the right thing, and it doesn't matter what these war criminals is commenting.
Of course, interesting statements coming from Barrister M. Sarwar Hossain, really recapping some of the issues that we see regarding Gaza, regarding Benjamin Netanyahu's claims over Britain. And of course, there are news that I must follow with, that includes a drone strike that has killed a Palestinian and injuring a lot of other people in the Gaza city of Khan Yunis just over the weekend. And the weekend was the avid time where we've seen that multiple natural disasters have taken place all around the world. Croatia, a nation in Europe, is now battling severe wildfires, while we see over a 7.0 magnitude earthquake shaking the Flores region of Indonesia, with over 111 aftershocks to follow. So all of this shall be discussed just after a short break. I request our audience to stay tuned for more on this very program. Welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this, because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen,
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
they will face better projects
with Presidency of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's.
Welcome to all our viewers back onto International Affairs. Of course, in the studio, I'm joined with Barrister Sarwar Hussain as we await the joining of Norman Floyd Barnes all the way from Washington, District of Columbia. We were discussing some of the issues pertaining to Iran, pertaining to the U.S. and the situation that we see stemming from the Middle East. Of course, we see violations of mass murdering genocides that have been happening ever since in the Gaza Strip, as well as focusing on how the legislative and judiciary can work in order to bring reliability back to the leaders who represent mass people from around the world. Before the break, we were talking about some natural disasters that have really shaken up the people, shaken up the United Nations, as well as various international bodies as they try to understand, make believe of the situation and how many people really are displaced. I want turning to Barrister Sarwar Hussain. Really, we were talking about earthquakes and how it has had a massive rise over just this last 8 months, over 10 earthquakes in the magnitude of 7 and above. And then in recent times, we see that in Indonesia, a nation that is very close to the Pacific Ring of Fire, being targeted with a 7.4 magnitude earthquake, and it struck the Flores region at local time on Saturday, just on the weekend, followed by 111 aftershocks, even one including magnitude 6.1. Authorities evacuated around 2,000 people from affected areas to safer locations. However, the National Disaster Management Agency said the victims are in that area, and 25 or more people may have died. And the official result is saying that over 50 people have been killed because of this natural calamity. On the other side, we see wildfires taking to another country in Europe. Croatia, a nation in Europe bordering a lot of other nations there, is now facing a wildfire which is very massive and is very hard to solve, very hard to diminish the fire once it starts, once it catches up on the forest area as well. I want to ask you how you feel about it, especially because here in our nation, we are one of the more seismic prone countries with active fault lines all around us. So I want to get a statement from you, how you believe this kind of news should be interpreted.
Yeah, these natural calamities are in a very alarming scale. It's not only this earthquake or this wildfire, also heat wave. We have seen that many people have been died out of heat wave in Europe. It happened this year in a very massive scale, and now wildfire is going on, and many people has been evacuated from the heat wildfire. This happening now in the western.
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
they will face better projects.
Earthquake has taken place in Colombia, where more than 2,000 has been killed already. It happened in Indonesia. It happened in Venezuela. So in Dhaka, we are really people are afraid that it's hit on a very seismic area map, you said, and a small scale earthquake, magnitude 5 up to 5, took place where the center point was in Narayanganj, in Norsingdi.
Right.
So this is around Dhaka city, and many has observed that what will happen nobody knows. If a earthquake magnitude above 7 happens in Dhaka, how many buildings will sustain? Many said that 80% buildings may collapse. So this is already you can only rely on the God. You can only depend on the God. There is no evacuation plan. The streets are very small. Who will evacuate whom? Where will be the road? Right. What will happen? And one engineer was telling that if sometimes of God forsake, if some earthquake happens like that, this whole city may become a volcanic city, because all the gas line flowing in the ground level all will be turned out and may burst into fire. So there can be just hell, a hell in the world. Right. So it is the time that the government should take care. All the measures has been taken. Volunteers has to be created, and any building and road infrastructure must be built with the 7.5 sustainability. Otherwise, if an earthquake happens, having the gravity central point in Dhaka or around, there might be a disaster for this city and for this country.
Right.
So, not depending on Almighty, not NASA, you have to do your part, planning for a disaster to how to handle that. So, and volunteering, teaching in the schools and college students so that they can prepare. Those we are living in the tall buildings. I live in a 5th floor of a building. Really, it becomes shaky. We face 2 or 3 times earthquake remaining in that 5th floor. So those who live in the more top floors, 15 to 20, 21 floor, this is more shaky. So really a dangerous situation, and a mind not having peace, that you are sleeping and an earthquake has taken place. You may not know that how you die, or what are the dangerous situation you can face. You may be injured, you may be killed. If you are killed, you are safe. But if you are trapped in the rubbles, then that is really pathetic. That is very unmeasurable situation that can happen. Right. So as Bangladeshi, as the government is going, we should prepare ourselves if there are any disaster like that, so that there can be first phase, second phase, third phase of the evacuation, and every student of the school and girls, they must be taught what to be done during the time of this earthquake, because it is happening around the world. It is happening in the western hemisphere, in the eastern hemisphere, in the southern and north, or also in the middle of the planet. So where it can hit, nobody knows. So not the technology, this scientific invention, not inventing the armaments or everything. Please do something about how to manage this earthquake.
Of course.
Do some research on that. There is no research on that. The earthquake happens and you do some evacuation and post-earthquake management, and then another earthquake is coming. So technology or our scientists, world scientists may try that how to identify, how to give a warning about the earthquake. That will save the humanity. I think the world leaders should put their attention to that, about a research how to make a warning system about the earthquake. That will save a humanity.
Of course, very important statements coming from Barrister M. Sarwar Hossain. Really, the only surveyor of geological developments is the USGS, as we see an organization from the US that is actively monitoring there's this earthquake phenomena all over the planet. As we have now established connection with Norman Floyd Barnes, I welcome you onto the program. Really, a lot of discussion has already happened through, but I want to ask you a host of questions, beginning with one that the Strait of Hormuz still is under U.S. Control, according to U.S. President Donald Trump, as a U.S. territory. And not only so, the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling out on Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to be fired. Reports of difficult conditions faced by sailors aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier. And I'm sure you were hearing that we were discussing environmental issues. From the weekend, we see an earthquake over 7 magnitude hitting the Flores region in Indonesia, taking over 50 lives as the wildfires in Croatia continue to burn. A very good morning to you, Norman. Welcome you on to the show.
Greetings. Good morning. Yes, we are now, we've been talking about this for several days, several weeks, the weather, nature. We just had another earthquake in Indonesia, and it's affecting, unfortunately, South Asia. Here in the United States, we are having our issues too with weather. Indiana, the state of Indiana had a flooding. It's flooding heavily there. So far, 5 lives has been lost so far with the weather. And again, Indonesia earthquake. Once again, as we've spoken, we are caught unprepared dealing with this. No early warning system. People losing their lives, landscape, property, buildings, all of that is affected. And now we're into the familiar mode of responding and try to put things back together again. And that is something we're going to have to, as a people, understand that these phenomena are going to continue. It's not a one-time, one-in-a-century type of situation. As we see across the globe, it's been happening, the Pacific Ring, all the way across to Europe, here in the United States. Other parts of the world is being affected by weather-related issues. And our focus needs to shift and change on how we can provide more intelligence and a better early warning system to the people to mitigate the loss of lives. It's not going to replace everything, but we now at a period of time where we can look and pre-warn people before things happen, and that itself will mitigate some of the losses, some of the infrastructure problems we're having right now. But this is something we need to focus and stop and look at. These incidents are not going to stop. They're going to continue. We're heavy into the summer. It's getting close to September. More hurricanes. So more to come, more issues to develop. But this process that we're doing, responding to incidents, is not going to help society at all. And it only shows that governments and our leaders have not properly thought about this, prepared, or had the understanding that we need to pre-prepare before responding. Responding is okay, but in the times we live in, we need to have pre-warnings instead of just a response.
Right. This warning system is definitely one to look about. Just to add on to your statement, just another question towards Norman as well. How you see the sailors of the U.S. Navy. The stories are very intriguing as the Navy sailors aboard the Abraham Lincoln, the USS aircraft carrier, nuclear-powered carrier, they trying to jump off board, they losing on their morale. And of course, as I read out earlier, Chuck Schumer on Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, and it being shifted out with another carrier. So just a comment by you, how you see it. Just before a midterm, Donald Trump is asking the consumers to suck up the additional prices related to energy. Your take on that before I can come back to the studio, Norman.
Yes, it's definitely clear. Everything's going up. I this last couple of days I went to been shopping, going to the store for certain basic things, and it's coming very extremely expensive to basically buy the necessities that we need right now. The prices are going up. The situation with the sailors, our military. Having the military in a state of a holding pattern is very counterproductive. Uh, the soldiers, the sailors on a ship for a long period of time, developing fatigue, particularly when they're not motivated and they have not been given any clear direction on which way to go. So, in a state of constant holding, to have a military, have military personnel stay in a state of do we go, do we stay, just being there, it has a effect on their morale. Unfortunately, the information coming from the U.S. Abraham is stating that there's low morale. People are taking drastic actions, and people are just frustrated and it got back to the news, got back to the families of the people, it's getting to Congress, and now we're getting pressure from the citizens to our congressional people, and the congressional people is now pushing forward the president, basically saying, "Hey, what are we doing? We need to remove our people, get our people relief." But unfortunately, when you're in a state like this, when you're in a state of constant hold, it is very, very demoralizing and destructive for any type of military to ramp up, ready to go, and never get a chance, never hit the opportunity, or get an update on exactly are we in it, are we out it, do we stage, do we decompress, do we increase it? There's no communication, there's no direction. So what you're saying about about the Secretary of War in a state of hold, they have a plan. The U.S. has a plan, but that plan has not been communicated down to the sailors and the military people exactly what's going on. Right now, the military can go and say, in a minute now, we can start our action. But that minute has come weeks, months, and hopefully not years. We are stating that we are ready to attack when the order is given. That carries a lot of weight with the military and the personnel to have them offshore on a large aircraft carrier and not been able to engage or de-engage the objective, and more importantly, not knowing the objective. What is the effect that's going to have on them? We're now seeing the morale is now being eroded because there's no clear message on the mission.
Right. Excellent statements coming from Norman Floyd Barnes, really touching upon the environmental hazards as well as the morale of soldiers who really need to decompress after so many months and weeks in the open water on an aircraft carrier. Coming back to the studio with the next news, at least 8 people have died and several more have been injured in eastern Japan after record rainfall caused widespread flooding. Once again, very similar to a flooding incident in the United States. As well, the United Nations adds its voice to flag concerns about the pressure of extreme weather events like droughts or floods, putting a strain on food security. And that is what I want to ask you, Barrister Sarwar Hussain. Food security in a nation like Bangladesh, where we don't have energy security, just to get your comment, world is reeling from various disasters, various crises, and at this moment, both the ruling government as well as the opposition are in head-to-head terms on how they should tackle this kind of energy situation in Bangladesh over the next 6 months, according to the latest news. Just to get your comment, how you feel about it?
Yeah, energy security in Bangladesh is always was a very unsafe position. Just a war in Iran, and this has destabilized the fuel market in Bangladesh, and people are suffering. We have seen the long queue in the petrol pumps. So, how to secure the energy for 6 months or 1 year, that is a very big plan. and this government has come around 5 months plus. They are facing a lot of trouble, not only in the field of economy but also in the energy sector, and people are very suffering in many a way. They are not getting gas, no electricity. So this food security and energy security is very vital for a nation. If if food security is not there, then your sovereignty and security will be at stake. If energy security is not there, again your sovereignty and security will be at stake. So for a national strength, for a good nation, this is the priority, to have the fuel security, energy security, and this food security. So we have seen in Japan that Japan is a first world country, and this devastating flood which has taken 8 persons killed, this is very bad news for Japan. Japan is one of the top country to manage the natural calamities.
Right.
And this has happened, and this also has happened in California, in Los Angeles. We have seen that the water has flooded the road and the car has gone underwater, and same scenario in Japan. So anywhere it can happen, like earthquake or the flooding, natural calamities. So no country can say that they are totally immune or can handle 100% these natural calamities. And country like Bangladesh, we are more vulnerable because anywhere is some problem, Bangladesh suffers. The war in Ukraine and Russia, Bangladesh suffers because the import of wheat decreases.
Right.
The war on Iran, Bangladesh suffers. There is more rain, Bangladesh suffers. So it is a big challenge for the leadership, those who run the country, and that's why the successive government, they fail, and at the time they flee away. I don't know what will happen with this government. The signals are not good. They are suffering, very acute suffering from the economy, acute problem in the gas and fuel. So where is the management? Someone they are saying that they are trying to manage for a few years. So where is the long-term plan? So for any problem, there must be 3 phases of plans: the immediate plan, short-term plan, mid-term plan, and long-term plan. What is the plan? So that relates that the politics in Bangladesh has never come out from the plundering, from the dacoity. The culture of politics has become a plundering. These politics create Sheikh Hasina, Sheikh Rehana, who plunders, who the government officials, they plunder, the politicians, they plunder, the engineers, they plunder. So winning a match in Australia, it will also come, it is a corrupt country. It is a almost lawless country. So question before us, whether it will develop from here, from a dysfunctional state, whether it will develop or it will be Somalia. We hope that it should not be Somalia. It should develop from here.
Right.
The present Prime Minister has been empirical experience for remaining in UK for 17 years. He has seen how to bring rule of law, justice and accountability, if he can implement. But the signal is not good. The many corruption allegations are already coming, and those who know, they express in a passive way, and it will come in the media sometimes if corruption.
Right.
So this is the big challenge, whether you can control the corruption of your partyman, then in the country. And if the money laundering and corruption is curbed, 2% GDP increases in Bangladesh. This 2% GDP increase, this can enhance in the food security, in the energy security.
Of course.
So it is a matter of governments. Winning a war, definitely we congratulate the team who won the match in Australia. In the land of Australia. Earlier, we thought there was a player named De Silva in Sri Lanka. It was seen that nobody can make him out. He stood in the crease like a rock star. Same type of player was Rocky Ponting. Nobody could make him out. Rocky Ponting, when he will be out, he keeps on playing and making run. In that Australia, the Bangladesh team has won. They deserve a big congratulations.
Of course.
But winning him must definitely bring some good news for Bangladesh. But good news has to be for Bangladesh is a corruption eradication, the free of corruption, establishing rule of law, justice, and stop the plundering and bring the money which has been already laundered from Bangladesh. That will make the Bangladesh sustainable and can really march forward with the democratic rulers and bringing the rule of law.
Excellent statements coming from Barrister M. Sarwar Hossain, really congratulating the Bangladeshi cricket team who has won the Test Series cricket, the first test in Darwin in Australia by winning by 9 wickets, the Bangladeshi team. I congratulate them. And with that being stated, it's time for a short commercial break, requesting our audience to stay tuned for more. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Welcoming our viewers back onto the last segment of International Affairs. We were talking about much of the world geopolitical situation, as well as congratulating the Bangladesh cricket team for winning their test series in Australia. And of course, Australians will look up to this as an upset on their very own soil in Darwin. And being a former athlete, I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes just the connection between sports and governance and how it can unite a nation, how it will also nurture the future generations who want to be active in this kind of play. How you feel about just this story that's coming out, Bangladesh winning its first test series abroad in Australia as well. Passing it on to you, Norman, how do you feel about this?
yes, in the spirit of the World Cup, this sports, congratulations to the Bangladesh cricket team and its success overseas. Sports is a very important instrument in terms of people relating to themselves. Having a nation support a team, I'm telling you, is very important to the athlete. The athletes serves as a peace model and also a model that shows that people, even though we are in competition, we are all one. We can help each other. We can develop. We can do things. We can even solve problems. We just need to basically understand that I have a perspective, you have a perspective, and we have the ability to come together to compete and provide a situation where national pride.
Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan.
Opening an open war conflict with them.
testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people? And really, we're talking about sport, we're talking about disasters, and all of it combining together. We must remain united. Unity amongst both the opposition and the ruling forces must always be there in order to ensure the government towards the people. A for people government is what we're looking for. Just to ask you, sir, how confident are you? We see that 6 months have gone by. There are suspected cabinet changes that are coming in, with both candidacy of presidential candidates being valid and legal as we see them in the local news. Just your comment regarding state unity and what we must do in order to fight the crisis, the challenges that our nation faces.
Well, time and again we had been telling there should have been a reconciliation process, which implies that bring the offenders into the trial and leave everyone, irrespective of the political belief, do their normal life. Just few historical lesson you follow, you will be successful. What is that? For what activities Awami League has fallen, don't do that. Or that means don't do a politics like Awami League. If you do a politics like Awami League, that means plundering, corruption, maljustice, and all those.
Enforced disappearances
Forced
as well.
disappearances, all those. Awami League has made few developments like Metro Rail, the bridge, and many things. But why they fall? They fall because of plundering, because of the crime against humanity, this enforced disappearance, all those. So to unite a nation, 2 or 3 things is required only. A reconciliation process, that means only the offenders will be tried. All other has to be allowed to do their normal life. 2, corruption-free country. 3, bring rule of law and justice. Just ensure this thing, the country will be united.
Right.
And most importantly, Bangladesh, stop corruption within the party. If you can stop your own henchman, your party man, then corruption will be eradicated by 90%.
Right.
If you cannot do that, you will be doing a politics like Awami League. And if you do a politics like Awami League, a consequence will be like Awami League.
Of course.
That's the message.
Excellent message coming from Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. I thank you for your patience and contributions towards international affairs here in the studio. I also thank Norman Floyd Barnes joining us on the program, providing aspect and viewpoint perspectives from Washington, District of Columbia. Before I finish, today has enormous significance in the Middle East as well. August 16th in the year 1960 was officially looked upon, ending the 82 years of British colonial rule in the nation of Cyprus, which gained its independence on this very day way back in 1960. With that being stated, I am signing off on International Affairs. I will be with you all in tomorrow's installation.